Your brand may be staying on top of current trends, but are you agile enough to stay relevant, resilient, and successful as customers, competition, and the world continues to change at a breakneck pace? I'm thrilled to share the newly revised version of my first book, The Agile Brand. I'm calling it The Agile Brand Revisited. It's been updated to reflect our continually changing world, and it provides 7 principles that form the backbone of an agile brand, offering detailed insights and actionable steps for incorporating them into your business strategy. This is the book that started it all, and I'm excited to share it with you. It's now available in print and digital formats and available everywhere. Learn more by going to the Agile Brand Guide website at www.agilebrandguide.com. Welcome to Season 4 of the Agile Brand with Greg Kihlstrom, where we discuss business agility through customer experience, employee experience, and digital transformation. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom. The Agile World podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to TEKsystems.com. To read more about the topics discussed on this show, you can go to my website at gregkihlstrom.com and read my latest articles or get a copy of my latest book, Meaningful Measurement of the Customer Experience, now available on Amazon and other retailers. My name is Greg Kihlstrom, and I'm the host of the Agile Brand podcast. I'm excited to introduce part 1 of a special series about the efforts seemingly every company is on to modernize their business through digital transformation. The series is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Kunal Patil, a lead architect at TEKsystems. Kunal, first, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background and what you do at TEKsystems?
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me. My name is Kunal Patil. I work as lead practice architect in TEKsystems Global Services. Been with Tech from last four and a half years. I lead a team called Delivery Agility team, which is part of our business modernization pillar. My team primarily focuses on enterprise operations capabilities for our customers, focusing on achieving faster time to market, as well as other capabilities across DevOps, DevSecOps, Data Ops, ML Ops, AI Ops areas, contributing to the overall value that we can accelerate when it comes to digital transformation journey.
Well, let's get started talking about digital transformation. So from your standpoint, what are some of the most exciting technology trends related to digital transformation and modernization efforts?
One of the most exciting technology trends that I'm seeing particularly right now in the market is edge compute. So I'm with the latest technology kind of releases, if you see across major cloud provider, whether it is AWS, Azure, or GCP, uh, they are focusing more on networking and communication space, and that's where you are getting technologies such as 5G everywhere services that was released by for AWS just last year in their reInvent conference. So those so edge compute is now becoming more and more mainstream rather than just an ancillary function of enterprise IT. You will see that with the new cloud native capabilities that are being introduced in this field, edge compute becomes one of the major or critical part of centralized IT framework of the organization rather than just a standalone infrastructure, and that gives customers or organizations more opportunities in terms of their overall business growth as well as revenue growth, because it allows them to capitalize on opportunities in the edge compute space that were not necessarily available to them a few years ago. Another trend that I see apart from edge compute is AI ops. AI and ML has been buzzwords for quite a few years, but with AI ops, we are seeing more and more practical use cases or implementations in the industry, especially in cloud and DevOps world, where AI ops is helping organizations deploy feature right from planning that feature in their overall software development lifecycle to releasing that feature for their customers. AI ops allow organizations to capture a lot of key metrics around the overall velocity of the team, as well as the metrics around quality, security, and resiliency of the application in much more real-time manner, and that basically ensures teams can plan more effectively as to how they are releasing products in the market. And the last one is with cloud adoption being one of the standard in the industry, especially it is one of the major driver when it comes to digital transformation journeys. We are seeing a shift where customers are not only focusing on cloud, but they are focusing on multi-cloud architecture. So multi-cloud architecture is also one of the trends in the technology world, where organizations are no longer willing to put all their eggs in one basket. Rather, they want to leverage cloud capabilities per use cases they have within their organization. That way, they can capture the efficiency of cloud, and as well as be more cost optimized overall when it comes to execution of their digital transformation initiatives.
We hear a lot about digital transformation, IT modernization, upgrading legacy technology. When companies are talking about modernizing their business, what does all of that mean, and what should businesses be paying attention to there?
So, modernization in context of digital transformation primarily focuses on changing the entire enterprise IT landscape in all aspects of software development lifecycle. So when it comes to, and when I say change, it's not just necessarily upgrading different technologies, because digital transformation journeys are more geared towards not just a technology aspect of the organization, but also people and process uh, aspect. So when it comes to why companies are modernizing their businesses today compared to 10 years ago, you will see that with the introduction of cloud technologies and cloud platforms or modern compute platforms becoming standard in the industry, companies are now they have capabilities to adopt kind of a scalable model in the market. That way they can reach new customers faster, they can enter into new markets that were not necessarily available for them in the last decade. One of the key driver for modernization is this potential for growth that was not necessarily available a few years ago. So for example, if you look at cloud infrastructure, any organization that wants to move into, let's say, European markets or Asian markets, they were constrained by their infrastructure capabilities early in the past, where they had to have their data centers, they had to have their workloads, people all in that specific region. But with cloud, those boundaries or those blockers are no longer there. Cloud acts as an enabler for those organizations who can quickly go or enter into new market without changing fundamental structure of their organization or without heavy capital investments. And that is one of the biggest drivers when it comes to modernizing businesses. And that's where we are seeing a major shift in how organizations are looking at modernization, and how potential for growth is one of their key driver in taking on those initiatives.
Well, Gartner recently forecast global IT spending to reach $4.6 trillion in 2023. Just a staggering number, right? Obviously, business modernization doesn't account for all the spend, but what factors are driving modernization efforts and this additional IT spending?
Yeah, that number is really staggering. And if you
Yeah.
see more and more organizations kind of adopting cloud, building their digital strategies, especially if tier 2, tier 3 companies are also being forced or sometimes are being motivated due to hyper competitive space in the market. That investment, it will grow beyond that number in the coming years. But what I feel is, when it comes to kind of what factors are really driving modernization, the first one is every organization is now striving towards faster time to market. Everyone wants to go and reach customer much quicker in terms of features and functionalities they provide via their services. But at the same time, every industry, even the legacy kind of traditional industries, they are also being disrupted by new entrants in the market, especially startups or companies who are leveraging modern cloud architecture or who are leveraging modern application architecture, AI and ML technology, which gives them advantage over these traditional large, huge organizations that previously enjoyed their market share in that specific industry are now being disrupted, from ground up. You are looking at customers who are changing or who are evolving more and more due to the options that are available to them in the market. But at the same time, you are also seeing pressure from peers within the industry that are forcing organizations to go to market faster with new features and functionalities. So that means that means you have to identify and kind of effective make your overall software development lifecycle more efficient across the board, right from planning the feature all the way to releasing the feature, and that is kind of driving organization into business modernization. Second factor that I see is, as I mentioned earlier, is potential for growth. With just recent kind of innovations that you are seeing in cloud and DevOps world, where you are seeing new technologies being released every month or so, that is becoming an industry standard. Companies are no longer limited by technology to achieve growth, whereas technology is now becoming more and more enabler or accelerator for their growth, and digital transformation initiatives are basically enabling organizations to kind of scale faster. So that those two would, I would say, are kind of major driving factors. Is, one is striving to achieve faster time to market because pressure from the peers in the industry, as well as evolving customer consumer behavior, and then potential for growth that companies are now unlocking with the advent of cloud that allows them to capture more market share as well as enter into new markets.
So from a digital maturity standpoint, where do most companies stand in terms of modernizing their business? Are most companies kind of in the leaders or ahead category, or are they behind? What are you seeing in the market?
That's a very good question. So, I feel that based on my experience overall by working with customers, helping customers on their digital transformation journey, I feel that each organization has their own unique digital transformation journey or modernization journey, because the overall journey itself depends on three different areas within the organization. One is people, another is process, and another is technology. And the combination of all three ensures actually that the journey itself is unique to that specific organization. So I would say it's kind of in a bit of both, where some companies are far ahead just because they started early or they were initial kind of early adopters of new technologies and tools, whereas some others are laggers in the overall modernization drive within their industry, where they are following footsteps of their competitors after realizing that the competitors are getting ahead in the industry by capturing more market share by becoming more modern. So that's what I would I would say, that it's very unique to an organization. It depends on the overall kind of maturity of the organization, but at the same time it also depends on how steadfast the leadership is and how willing leadership is when it comes to taking on new kind of technologies and taking on new processes. So the overall executive leadership resolve around standing behind a modernization initiative also matters when it comes to determining velocity of overall initiative. And that that also determines how unique their journey is. So I would say it's unique, and then there are folks on both side of the spectrum and everyone is kind of following their own pace depending on the maturity across different areas of their organization.
Can you share some of the challenges that you see in digital transformation? And you've touched on some of this already, but just, are there some similar challenges that you see across industries? Does it very much depend on context? Like what are you seeing?
So there are actually quite a few
Yeah,
challenges
I can
in
imagine.
digital transformation journey. So see, basically, digital transformation journey is a multi-year initiative, and when you are embarking on a multi-year initiative, especially when you are a big organization, one of the main challenge that I have observed across the board, across with companies who are kind of leaders in their industries, is oftentimes they have a lack of clear roadmap. They don't have clear roadmap when it comes to what they want out of their digital transformation journeys. Um, you know, a lot. I also see that leaders do not necessarily understand that not everything that exists in legacy IT or legacy IT world today is candidate for modernization. So choosing right modernization strategy, with clearly defined goals on what needs to happen over a 2 year or 3 year period is a key to successful kind of transformation. And I see leaders facing a lot of challenges in that area to maintain that clarity over a period of time. Oftentimes what happens is once the initiative is started, everyone is on the same page, everyone is very excited, but once you start, once the months go by, I see leaders getting too tactical in the early stages of digital transformation journey by chasing lower hanging fruits, and that doesn't realize actual value of the transformation. That defining modernization strategy that targets key enterprise objectives, which focuses across three different agilities. For example, we have a framework called business modernization framework that focuses specifically on business agility, delivery agility, and platform agility as a foundation for overall modernization strategy. We just don't see that level of clarity in our customers. Another challenge that I see that leaders face during digital transformation is having the ability to quantify time to value proposition. Because the initiatives are multi-year initiatives, it is very difficult for them to measure when their end customer is going to realize the value of the initiative they are executing. And that's where I see leaders getting frustrated, where they are not able to quantify when the value will be realized, and it affects their overall confidence, and they pivot suddenly from their journey 1 year down the line or 2 year down the line, kind of again derailing the entire velocity of their digital transformation journey. And the last challenge that I see that every organization face in one way or the other is basically challenges in the people area. So when it comes to, so there was a comment that I had read in Forbes magazine about digital transformation back in 2020, when digital transformation started picking up in the COVID, when the COVID hit. So one of the comment was that real secret to digital success for your organization is not starting with technology, but starting with humans. So people aspect is actually very critical when it comes to digital transformation journey, and we see uh, that being an afterthought in many of our kind of examples that we see in the industry, where people is aspect within digital transformation journey is more thought of as an afterthought rather than as an enabler for the journey, and that again derails in the overall success of digital transformation journey. So
Yeah, and so to solve some of these challenges, is there a roadmap or a playbook of sorts that organizations can follow to help them navigate these modernization efforts? What do you recommend they do?
So at a high level, as I mentioned, that it's the journey itself is very unique. for every organization, right? So because it spans people, process, and technology areas, that means it is going to be, leaders are going to face different challenges that are very specific to the problems that they have, or the way they are structured and their ways of working is defined within their organization. When it comes to a roadmap or a playbook, we there are many kind of playbooks that are available in the markets, especially you have Gartner's defining an overall modernization narrative as well as Harvard Business Review coming up with a lot of white papers on how modernization initiatives should be conducted. But it is again very specific to an organization. What we do within TGS is we follow a framework called Business Modernization Framework, which is kind of unique to our experience by working across different verticals and organize companies and our customers. And then it is kind of built from our experience as to how digital transformation journeys should be executed. And what we do is we have four key phases within any digital transformation journey, and that is true for other frameworks also that are available. There are few key phases or few areas that start with leadership or executive leadership defining what is it that they really want to achieve out of their digital transformation initiatives. So we call that enterprise North Stars. What North Stars as a leader or as an executive, senior executive leader, you want to achieve from this digital transformation initiative, and being clear on those and defining those early on is a key for a good foundations for digital transformation initiative. Once you have those North Stars defined, we go into a phase where we understand current state, where you stand today when it comes to your overall enterprise IT landscape across your infrastructure, applications, databases, security, users, customers. We try to understand what is your current state, and then based on the current state that we identified, we call that phase as dive deep and align phase. Let's just dive deep into where we are today as an organization, and then align with North Stars that we have created in our phase one. um, and once we have these kind of current state identified, we have North Stars defined, we go into a value stream kind of work, where we follow safe agile methodology, allowing us to create set of value streams which are really modernization initiative across the board, that covers all the aspects of digital transformation journeys. And that's where we plan on how to achieve the objectives of that value stream from the current state we identified to the target state, which is our enterprise North Stars that we have identified within the early phases. And that allow us to set strong foundations, and we call that foundational phase as enablement phase. That's where we verify and validate a lot of strategic aspects of the overall strategy, whether it is app modernization strategy, whether it is data modernization strategy, whether it is DevOps adoption, cloud adoption, AI ops, ML ops. So anything that can account for modernization initiative, we set strong foundations for that strategy in the enablement phase by running a lot of prototyping activities, POCs, MVPs. We do a lot of process oriented work where we define standards and processes. We establish center of excellence to ensure that teams are involved, and it's not just a strategy defined by leaders and some handful of stakeholders. And so now what we have is, after phase three, we have basically a well-defined enterprise North Stars or enterprise strategic objectives. We have analysis and gaps identified from where we are at a current state. We have planning completed for all the value streams or all major IT initiatives within that digital transformation journey. And then we have strategy validated by establishing strong foundational aspects from an implementation standpoint as well as from architectural standpoint. So basically, these three areas prepare you to kind of launch into the scaled implementation phase, which is the last phase, where you have engineering teams kind of running on a sprint by sprint basis, going through the backlog, completing backlog to achieve different milestones within the modernization value streams. And that's how I would define a four-phased approach, kind of a playbook or four-phased approach roadmap as to how companies should execute digital transformation journey, so that they are very clear on where they want to go, how they are going to go there, and how what preparations they are making to kind of ensure they have strong foundations, and then doing scale adoption or scaled implementation to achieve velocity, so that your overall objectives are kind of completed within time. So that's what I would say the roadmap should be. Again, there are many strategies or roadmaps available when it comes to modernization, uh, but we have seen the business modernization framework that we have built has worked successfully across a lot of customers in Fortune 500 companies, and we continue to work with hundreds of customers in that area at an enterprise level.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing your perspective.
Great, happy to be. When it comes to kind of strategies, it's more centered around how leaders look at digital transformation, but at the same time how employees or teams, individual teams, perceive digital transformation initiatives. So that's where there are many challenges that leaders will face, teams will face, but then how they kind of mitigate those challenges is what defines that journey. And that's where you have all the fun, I would say, rather than kind of achieving milestones, because once you achieve milestones, you have next set of milestones. So the journey itself is very interesting and challenging, but a well thought out strategy and well derived plan helps you achieve your objectives.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, again, I'd like to thank Kunal Patil from TEKsystems for joining the show. Learn more about TEKsystems and their perspective at TEKsystems.com. I'm Greg Kilstrom. Thanks for listening to the Agile Brand. See you next week. Thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand with Greg Kilstrom podcast, brought to you by TEKsystems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe on your podcast channel of choice and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.theagilebrand.show. To get a copy of my latest book, Meaningful Measurement of the Customer Experience, visit my website at gregkilstrom.com. Until next week, stay agile.